Hi, it's DeAngelo. Over the past 10 plus years, I've helped literally millions of men around the world improve their success with women in dating through my books, through my training programs, through my online videos, and my online newsletters. And in this free video series, you're going to learn secrets to succeeding at something far more important than just dating with women. In these videos, you're actually going to learn what it takes to make a woman fall in love with you. And not just any woman. Right here, we're talking about a woman that's beautiful, intelligent, sweet, and a woman that's your type. And I'm talking about a woman that you would call the most amazing woman in the world. Now, in these videos, you're also going to learn what triggers attraction and chemistry with a woman so that you can turn it on and off. You're going to learn what women look for when they're dating and what women look for when they want a relationship. You're going to learn how to attract the most amazing woman in the world. And yes, I know it sounds like a big promise, but stay with me on this one because I believe that it is possible for you. Your choice of romantic partner is the most important and critical decision you will make in your entire life, period. If you choose wisely, you'll be rewarded with growth, with support, with companionship, and an increase in your ability to be successful and make an impact in the world. If you choose unwisely, it will make your life hell. Choosing your long-term partner is a much bigger game than getting a date, by the way. Now, if you don't know me, I was never one of the guys that girls liked in school. I never had a girlfriend. I never got notes and messages from girls. And even worse, I would see guys that I knew with the girls that I wanted to be with, and I knew that I was just a much better and a much nicer guy. Eventually, I accepted the fact that I just wasn't one of the guys that girls were attracted to, and I gave up. Now, later in my life, in my late teens, my very, very late teens, and in my 20s, I had what you might call accidental girlfriends. I was single, they were single, and somehow we wound up meeting each other. But the problem was that I never felt confident, I never felt secure, I never felt powerful. And when I was single and I was lonely, I was afraid. I didn't know how to start a conversation. I didn't know how to get a date with a woman if I wanted. And that left me feeling very insecure. Now, when I was 26, I moved from where I grew up in the backwoods of Oregon to San Diego in California. I finally had a good job. So I went out and I got myself a BMW and I got myself a little one-bedroom apartment on the beach. Okay, I felt like I had made it. But there was just one problem. I still couldn't get a date to save my life. Okay, I thought that you start getting the job, you get the nice car, you get the apartment on the beach, and the girls just show up. Of course, it didn't happen that way. I tried everything at that point. I tried running personal ads. I tried doing pickup lines. I tried, walking up to girls and saying whatever came to my mind. I just tried everything, and you know what? None of it worked. Okay? And the things that worked even a little bit were very inconsistent. I started reading books, I started going to seminars, I started trying to find guys who understood what was going on with women. What was interesting was that the things that I read in the books about meeting women and dating and the things that I was learning at the seminars, some of that information was useful, but it was very hit and miss. And a lot of it just didn't feel good to do. I didn't feel authentic. I didn't feel like I was being honest. I didn't feel like I was being myself. But finally, I had a breakthrough. I started making friends with guys who were great at attracting women. And what I did is I went out and I watched them interact with women and I modeled them. Okay, I asked them questions. And as I started really studying what these guys did, which I had never done before in my life, I realized that they were doing things that were completely counterintuitive, things that I would never have done with a woman. Right? I would see a guy making fun of a beautiful woman that he had just met, or even complaining about her, okay, within minutes of starting a conversation. Now, as I was learning from these guys, I started to connect the dots and I started to see the patterns. But most importantly, I started doing what they were doing and I started having success. I went out one night and I walked up to a female. She turned out to be a fitness model, beautiful, at a nightclub. I got her phone number in maybe 3 or 4 minutes, and we started dating. A little later, I met a beautiful actress in Los Angeles that was in a mainstream movie, and she actually took me to the movie theater with her to see the movie that she was in. And that was a trip. I met this almost 6-foot tall model who was just spectacularly beautiful. She was on the cover of major magazines while I was dating her. One day, while we were dating, I was walking through an airport somewhere, some random airport, and I saw her on the front of a magazine, on the front of the magazine stand. Like, there she was. Another thing blew my mind. By the way, I met her online. She responded to my profile. She actually contacted me. I dated a woman who was a philosopher. I dated a woman who was a doctor. I dated a self-made millionaire, and just a whole bunch more. I'll save you the details, but the bottom line is this stuff that I was learning, it worked. So what did I learn that changed the game so much? Well, the most important thing that I learned is that attraction isn't a choice. Okay, when you meet a woman and you start interacting with her, you can't convince her to feel attracted to you. And most men make the mistake of trying to convince the woman by giving her compliments or chasing her around or trying to buy her dinner or flowers or gifts. But it turns out that attraction isn't a choice. Okay, she can't choose to turn it on or off. And if you understand how to trigger attraction, okay, trigger the attraction in her with your body language, with your voice tone, with your gestures, there's really nothing she can do about it. Okay? Because just like she can't choose to feel it, she can't choose to turn it off either, because attraction isn't a choice. The next thing that I learned is that we men and women, we actually don't have to do anything in order to be attracted and want to be around each other. Okay? It's kind of obvious when you think about it, but most of the things that men say and do actually get in the way. They turn a woman who would have been interested in them, they turn her off. In a lot of ways, success with women is about not doing the wrong things, which most of us guys do unconsciously all the time. And if you do the right things, especially when it comes to these subtle communications like body language and eye contact and voice tone, it can dramatically increase her attraction for you. Now, after learning these methods, I had guy friends of mine start asking me questions about what I was doing, and I started showing them. And I started seeing it work for them too. They were able to walk up to women and start conversations or run personal ads and get tons of responses. After perfecting the system, I actually believed that I was going to be single for the rest of my life. Okay, it was working so well for me. I was able to get dates anytime I wanted. I just thought, well, this is the life. And it was a total surprise when I met a woman that was, for me, the most amazing woman in the world. She's the smartest woman I've ever met. She's the most loving, and she's now my wife. She even kind of looks like me, which isn't that weird, but it's kind of true. But let's talk about you for a moment. I want you to find your own most amazing woman in the world, but I also want you to avoid a great tragedy with her as well. You see, a lot of men meet that most amazing woman in the world. They find her, but she doesn't feel the same way about him. And again, it's a horrible tragedy, okay? That's heartbreaking. So there are 3 major milestones when you're meeting a woman and building a relationship. First is being able to start a conversation, okay? Just being able to approach a woman, start a conversation, whether it be in person or whether it be online. Okay, that's a huge milestone. Number 2, getting a date and taking control of the attraction and the sexual dynamic. Okay, that's another huge quantum leap, another huge milestone that you must learn if you're going to be successful with women in dating. But then there's the 3rd major milestone, and that is the ability to make an amazing woman fall in love with you. Okay, and that's another quantum leap that I want to talk to you about right now. Now, as men, we focus on the first 2, okay, number 1 and 2, approaching and starting a conversation with women and getting a date and taking control of the sexual dynamic. Okay, we want to learn how to start that conversation and we want to learn how to get a date. And yes, we hope it leads to sex, but we intuitively know that if we can get past the first conversation, that it's a lot easier to get a date. And we know that if we can get a date, it's probably easier to make her into a girlfriend. But there's actually a much bigger game. Okay, it turns out there's a much bigger game. What's funny is I spent about 10 years of my life cracking the code on dating success, and I had no idea that this next level was going to be such a huge breakthrough in my own life. It's clear to me now that romantic relationship, the game of love, is a much bigger and far more important skill to learn in life. Okay, so let's recap. Your choice of romantic partner, it's the most important choice you'll make in your life. Next, attraction isn't a choice. Okay, women aren't choosing to feel it. Okay, you can trigger it in her, and then she can't choose whether or not to turn it off, but attraction isn't a choice. Next, men and women, we don't have to do anything to be attracted to each other. We're automatically attracted to each other. All of our ancestors, all the way back, without exception, all found a mate. Okay? We're naturally attracted to each other. Number 4, the biggest tragedy is finding your own most amazing woman in the world, but her not feeling the same way about you. Now, in the final analysis, attraction and love are triggered by different things. In our next video, we're going to learn what these two different things are and how to use them to get more dates, but more importantly, we're going to learn how to use them to attract your total 10, your most amazing woman in the world, and make sure that she feels the same way about you. So make sure and tune in next time, and I will see you in the next video in this series.